Essentially, it all began when I was back in Segundo Barrio. And I was in elementary school, in Alamo Elementary School, and that's where I met Paula Madrilles. Unfortunately, I was about 9, 10 years old, and I was struggling how to read. I was a slow reader to the point where if I was called to read by the teacher, my peers would make fun of me. When I met Miss Paula Madrilles, she began to give me extra classes. Essentially, after school or during school, she would pull me out of class and she would take me to her own classroom and teach us essentially how to read. She would read to us, show us an example of how reading should be done, and then teach us that. And then ultimately, once we were done, she would give us an option to pick some books and go home with them. My parents were focused on putting food on the table, not books on the table. More and more that I spent time with her, the more I kept learning how to read, and the better I got at it. And ultimately, when I realized that I could read and write just like every other student, I started getting a little bit more confidence. There was this contest for Desert View Homes, and this contest was to nominate a teacher who inspired you. Me and other students decided to enter the contest, and so I wrote about Miss Paula Madrilles. And so I submitted an essay for her detailing why she inspires me, and we ended up finding out that we won. And the prize was a street being named after the person who has inspired you. And Miss Paula Madrilles was that teacher for me. And she asked me if she could name the street after her daughter, Gracie Madrilles. And I, of course, said yes, because without her, I wouldn't have been here. But with that confidence that Ms. Madrilles gave me, I went to high school. Then after that, I went to the University of Texas at El Paso, and I decided to apply to law school. Ultimately, I went to Michigan State University, where again, it felt like I didn't know how to read again. But with the foundation that I had, I kept going. I ended up being the class speaker. And so I ended up giving a 17-minute speech for my parents, and my parents didn't know. And now the rest is history. Finally, I'm an attorney here in El Paso, Texas. I work for the amazing firm called Scott Hulse. And, you know, looking back, I wouldn't be here without Paula, Miss Madrilles. She took the time and attention and care for me. Without her, I wouldn't be here. Without her, I wouldn't have gotten the confidence that I needed. And without her, a lot of us wouldn't be here. When I got elected to be the class speaker for my law school graduation class at Michigan State, I made a commitment. My class speaker message was the importance of paying it forward. And now, being a board member of Books Are Gems, it's time for me to pay it forward, just like how it's time for you to pay it forward to the children of El Paso.